Welcome to another bonus edition of Upon Further Review.
Upon further review,
And in this edition, we'll be talking about the Carolina Panthers at the Green Bay Packers in their Week 7 matchup that will be happening on October 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can catch that on your local Fox affiliates. And heading into this game, the Carolina Panthers are 3-2-1, and the Green Bay Packers are 4-2. So the Panthers started off 2-0 as they won in Tampa against the Bucks. Then they won at home against the Lions in Week 2. But then they lost their next two games as they hosted the Steelers, and then they went to Baltimore and lost to the Ravens. But then they bounced back with a victory at home against the Bears. And then in Week 6, they played to the first tie of the 2014 season as they played the Bengals all the way through 5 quarters of play, even though 5 quarters is kind of oxymoron, right? Or something of that nature. So anyway, here they are going to Green Bay in Week 7. And the Packers, they lost their first game of the season by 20 points to Seattle in Seattle. But then they evened things up by hosting the Jets as they were down, and they came back and they won that game. Then they went to Detroit and they lost to the Lions, but then they evened things back up with a win in Chicago against the Bears. It was a huge win for the Packers right there. Then they hosted the Vikings and they beat up on them pretty bad. They beat them by 32 points in Lambeau. And then they went to Miami and they won an exciting game with that late touchdown. It was they won by 3 points, and that one was really one for the ages. Definitely a fun one to watch for sure. One of the more exciting games of Week 6. And now they host the Carolina Panthers, and this should be a really good game and a fun one to watch for sure. One of the better games of Week 7. Let's look inside the numbers for these two teams. And the Panthers are 12th in the NFL in passing offense per game, and the Packers are 20th. When we look at the defense, the Panthers are 20th against the pass, and the Packers are 5th. So it's pretty close, but you got to give the advantage to the Packers. Cam Newton has been throwing the ball really well, has been very impressive in the strides that he has made this year in his passing game. But when you look at the Packers, it's very deceptive that they're just 20th in passing yards, because Aaron Rodgers has really been turning it on lately. Of course, he only puts up the numbers they have to, and a lot of times he gets a short field. They have no problem getting in the end zone. It's just their offensive yards aren't as much. Like I said, partially due to the defense and special teams. But either way, the advantage goes to the Packers because of their strong play in their secondary, as they've been having just excellent, pass protection. So advantage Packers there when it comes to the passing game. And then we look at the running attacks of both teams. These teams have been struggling to run. The Panthers are 28th in the NFL in rushing yards per game. The Packers are 24th. And we look at run defense. These teams are really bad in run defense. The Panthers are 27th in yards allowed. And the Packers are 32nd in yards allowed on the ground. And so we look at that right there. It's really tough to call who has the advantage, but we're going to have to, give the slight advantage to the Packers in the running game. A big part of that, Eddie Lacy is a lot more capable. He just isn't getting a lot of carries, but he is more than capable of picking up yards when he gets the ball. He has 306 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season on the ground so far. His average is, only 3.8, but that's something they need to work on. But they get it done. That's the thing about the Packers. They're clutch. When they need to, they make things happen, and they're really good at protecting the ball. We'll get back to that in a moment, though. Let's look at their scoring numbers. When it comes to points for and points against, the Panthers are 11th in the NFL in points for, and the Packers are 7th. So these teams can put the points on the scoreboard, no doubt about that. But then we look at their defenses, and the Panthers are 24th in the NFL in points allowed, and the Packers are 12th. So again, the advantage goes to the Packers. So the Packers have the advantage all around in all the statistical categories when you look at how it breaks down. Of course, the Panthers have been, making some strides on offense, but their defense has fallen off. I mean, they've still got some good players on their defense, but they have been not playing really well as a unit. I mean, Kuechly's still putting up the numbers, but the other guys on the team need to step it up. They're definitely missing, up front, Greg Hardy, as he's not been playing. But the Packers, they put the points on the board, and they protect the ball, and that's what's going to make it really very difficult for the Panthers to go into Green Bay, is Aaron Rodgers has 15 touchdowns and just 1 interception. That guy has been playing just an amazing, year. He started off, kind of up and down a little bit. If you look at, each game, his numbers, in week 1, he didn't even throw for 200 yards, only 189. But then in week 2, 346 yards. But then in week 3, he goes back down under 200, only 162 yards. But then in week 4, he throws for 302 yards. But then in week 5, he throws for less than 200 again. He only throws for 156 yards. But then in week 6, Rodgers throws for 264. So as you see, he's like up and down, up and down. It's like a roller coaster, a seesaw. And actually, if you look at that, you would think, well, if things hold course for that pattern that's been developing so far, Rodgers would probably more likely have a low game where he throws for under 200 yards. But that just because the pattern shows that, I don't think that necessarily that's going to be how it's going to bear out. I actually think he's going to have a big game. I think he's actually going to probably throw for 300 yards and have a few touchdowns. They said as long as he continues to protect the ball the way he has been protecting the ball, Green Bay should be able to win this game. Of course, Cam Newton, he's been just doing it all. He really is Superman. He seems to be the only guy on their offense at times. I mean, he leads the team, not obviously in passing, with 1,267 passing yards. He's got 7 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions, so he's been protecting the ball as well. But he leads the team in rushing. That's the thing. That's where they really fall short, is they have no kind of running game. Cam Newton has 149 yards on the ground, and he's the leading rusher for the Panthers. So, they've been a little banged up there with D'Angelo Williams. Hasn't really gotten that many touches because he's been having some issues with injuries. But they really need to get something going on that, on the ground if they're going to have any chance of going anywhere this year. And their defense has been struggling as well, too. Of course, they have been getting some good play out of Kelvin Benjamin, the rookie, and that's definitely a bright spot on their offense. And Greg Olsen is playing really good, and they have a potential to make this game interesting. So Packers seem to always let up enough points to make the game interesting and make Aaron Rodgers have to do something spectacular. But Aaron Rodgers has no shortage of spectacular plays because Aaron Rodgers is clutch. I mean, you look up in the dictionary the definition of clutch, there's a picture of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this guy, I can't count how many times I've seen him pull a rabbit out of his hat and just throw a long bomb to Jordy Nelson or Randall Cobb to win the game at the end. Or even, as we've seen, he'll even go to someone else like Andrew Corliss if he has to. Either way, they can always get down the field with a really quick, play. Just one shot, boom, and there's 40 yards, just like that. Aaron Rodgers is the best when it comes to passing to his receivers, and when it comes to deep passing, he's one of the most accurate deep passers in the game of football. Like I said, most of his passes do go to his receivers more so than any of the other top quarterbacks, whereas you see other quarterbacks in the league, they tend to spread it around more and dump it off to their tight ends and to their running backs coming out of the backfield. Aaron Rodgers, he's old school. He's like Terry Bradshaw. He's the kind of guy, he just airs it out. He goes for those long, deep threats, and that's what makes the Packers so hard to beat, because at any point they can strike deep and get in the end zone so quick. They don't need a lot of time on the scoreboard. So, all they have to do is really keep the game within a score at the end, and the Packers can win. But, of course, in this game here, I think that they should actually not have to necessarily resort to that. I think that they should actually be in control for the most part. But then again, Cam Newton could make things interesting if he can have a huge game on the ground as well as through the air. The Packers let up a lot of yards on the ground. They're last in the NFL when it comes to rushing yards allowed. So expect Cam to put up some numbers, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Is Aaron Rodgers will meet him score for score, and the Panthers are not going to be able to stop the Packers from scoring, whereas the Packers will be able to shut down the Panthers just enough to get the W. And I think in the end, the Packers should win this one by a touchdown. Maybe it's a little closer, maybe they win by a little more, but either way, I think Green Bay takes this one at home in Lambeau. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Very interested to hear your opinions. And if you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit the like button. How else will we know you enjoyed the show if you don't hit the like button? And if you want more of this content, hit the subscribe button as we bring you upon further reviews and recaps for each and every single game, each and every single week, all the way through the regular season and the playoffs, all the way to the Super Bowl. And we're also covering the MLB playoffs through the World Series, as now it's down to just two teams, the Giants and the Royals. We covered already the Wild Card, the Division Series, and the Championship Series. Now it's down to two teams. Let's keep an eye out for that. We're also covering college football as much as possible. We are kind of busy with the baseball playoffs and with the football, but we will be covering the college football playoffs as that approaches. And we also do our weekly show, The Wedge, each and every single week, where we do our quick picks, our fantasy fortune fantasy football picks, a weekly rewind of the week that was, and we do our Thursday night upon further review on The Wedge. And we usually have that up by Wednesday. Sometimes it's up early, so you can always check on Tuesday. Sometimes we'll put up the quick picks then. And then you can always be sure that we will have The Wedge up by Thursday at the very latest. We always make sure to have it up before the Thursday night game. So keep an eye out for all of that. And thank you very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and have a great weekend and enjoy all of the sports.